Good evening and welcome to Gunner Shot. Gunner Shot में आप सबका स्वागत है. Today evening in this open house we are going to discuss. I'm going to put across to you three topics. One is Z's Folly. What's the Z's Folly? You'll find it very interesting. And then of course Pakistan's Mungherilals ke Haseen Sapne. There are Mungherilals in Pakistan and they've got grand dreams. And then, of course, the third issue is, in China, marriages are not being made and definitely not in heaven. These are the three interesting topics I thought I'll put across to you. At the outset, I'm sorry I had to prepone this because I have a commitment in the evening and I didn't want to let go. And, I do understand, but there'll be a lot of people watching the cricket match and all that. But that's okay. You can see this tomorrow at leisure. Because these are very interesting topics, and I'm sure you'll find it interesting. Okay, let's go. The first thing about what's the first thing? Yeah, let's see. First thing is about Xiongan and the Ghost City, which already they have spent $93 billion. $93 billion is a lot of money to spend on a city which no one lives. But that we'll come to later. Let's start with the thing. This city was sort of conceived in about 2017. This is one of the first reports which came out in The Economist. They said that look, this city. Till then, no one had heard of this city at all. And when it was announced, it became one of the most talked about cities. It was supposed to be a new area next to Beijing. And the moment it was announced, people rushed there. There were it was all fields, villages, just villages all around. So just people went there. To largely farmland. The prices of the land went up, and shares of local enterprises and cement factories and electronic goods and all those which go in for the construction of a city just shot up. And interestingly, why did they all shoot up? That's the point. The point is this was Xi Jinping's pet dream. It's like that. They say every emperor wants to make a city. And this was Xiongan, or whatever you call it, Xi's city. Right? And a lot of hype and hula about it. And it started like that, mind you. So, it was supposed to be this, what they had said. In 2020, they came out. Xiongan was supposed to be China's self-sufficient city. Now, what's so self-sufficient about it? It was to be a mega city, right? Which converted rural area into a Shenzhen of sorts. Shenzhen is their major business hub. It was a big technical hub which was to bridge Beijing, Tianjin, Hebei, with regulated population. But the interesting thing here is it was to cost $580 billion eventually. The outlay is $580 billion. Take it, they've spent only 93 billion so far. So there is a lot way to go. Will it happen eventually or not? I don't know. And great plans. It was supposed to have a scientific part with a lot of people loafing around in that, scientists, companies, and all that. And even now, it's only the phase one which is operational. Right? It was supposed to encompass about 50, 60 rural villages, a population of about 1 million in about 1,000 square kilometers. And the interesting thing, the final population was supposed to be 25 million. Okay. And then by the time this goes to 25 million, This area was supposed to expand to about 2,000 kilometers, double. So there's more. 580 billion kaha, 93 billion kaha. And this, it was supposed to be a self-sustaining city. And long distance thinking, a man who was to be emperor for life, and he had to put his stamp on this city. So this had to be 1,000 year significant. It would be some kind of a sub capital in the countryside, all the works, the whole lot. Okay, what is the roadmap? Okay, and the roadmap consisted of exploring new growth models, creating a world-class smart city, green development, environmental protection. I've just taken these words out from their brochures. Sustainable farming. Buildings would be self-sustained for energy. They would grow all the food required for this city within that city. Completely electrified transport. The works. Dream city. If you're still living in Xiongan, you're living in heaven. It's a state within a state, a city within a city, a lot of things. And it was at that time that, they put out a video. I must show you that, CGTN. Have a look at it. I don't know if you heard the. Oh, I'm sorry. I can't hear the voice. So you'll have to give me 1 minute. I'll switch the net so that you can see this properly. 1 minute. So I'll go off and I'll come back. Wait. Yeah. Some reason there's some technical hitch. Okay. Right. Let me see if we can get the sound again.
Scratch. Situated 100 kilometers to the south of Beijing, Xiongan is China's latest new area. Designed to be larger than New York City, Xiongan has been described as a millennium project. It represents the aspiration of Chinese President Xi Jinping to relieve the capital of non-essential functions, while also creating an innovation hub for the surrounding region. On May the 10th, President Xi visited the Xiongan new area. His first stop is Xiongan Station. Here it is. The Xiongan Station is the first major infrastructure project in the Xiongan new area. Since 2018, it began its construction and has been put into operation in 2020. Now, every day, 17 inner-city trains travel between Beijing and Xiongan, and it only takes 50 minutes to reach Xiongan from Beijing West Railway Station.
The distance from Beijing West to Xiongan is about 106 kilometers, with a minimum running time of 15 minutes. Currently, our main passengers are builders of the new area, also some business travelers and tourists. After learning about the construction and operation of the Xiongan railway station, President Xi said it's necessary to further improve the traffic connecting the station and the Xiongan new area, which means to improve the efficiency of people flow and logistics.
President Xi also underlined that we should build Xiongan district into a high-end and high-tech industry cluster, so that visitors can feel the modern new atmosphere that Xiongan new area brings upon them.
The nearly 480,000 square meter station simply shows its openness and modernity.
Yeah, but the interesting thing, people have asked, in this, which is very valid. Bura kya hai? What's wrong with this planning of making such a big city? No harm. But let's see what's the reality 7 years later. That's the more interesting thing. Here it is.
Waters that destroy tens of thousands of homes. And it cost tens of billions of dollars to build. Welcome to Xiongan, the mega project that Chinese leader Xi Jinping has staked his legacy on. Located 60 miles outside Beijing, Xiongan is designed to ease pressure on the overcrowded and congested Chinese capital of more than 20 million people. 7 years ago, all of this was cornfields and swamp. Today, it is a metropolis being built from scratch. With a whopping price tag of $93 billion, it was built as a showcase for China's technological prowess and as a way to show off its urban progress to the world. In less than a decade, thousands of buildings have sprung up, including residential compounds, office complexes, luxury hotels, and one of the symbols of the city, Xiongan train station. This terminus is one of China's biggest, the size of 88 football fields. It can take more than 100,000 passengers a day. And the success of this multi-billion-dollar endeavor is directly linked to Xi's personal investment in it. So much so that when the deadly floods of 2023 swamped nearby areas, officials demanded Xiongan be protected. As floodwaters were diverted from sparsely populated Xiongan into what the government called designated flood zones, neighboring cities and villages were submerged. Videos on social media showed people taking to the streets in a rare show of public anger, claiming the floods in their areas were caused by diverted waters, not by heavy rainfall.
Yeah, so the whole thing is that this was built, and as per, let me recap what this video was brought out by Wall Street Journal. It's at this point of time, it's a $93 billion mega city where all the fields, 2,000 square kilometers, are gone. Okay, of course, train station, it is as big as 88 football fields and all that. Now, the Chinese claim 1.2 million people stay there. Out of this 1.2 million, 1 million were the original inhabitants. They've been given, spaces around that in apartments and all that within. And over and above that, only 200,000 people have come, 0.2 million, right? And of course, displacement and all, ye to hota hi hai. I have no problem with it. But this whole place has got very strict regulations. They're building on, the caps on building heights. Price controls have been fixed. Everything is fixed here. Which industries can come, which can't come, polluting industries can't come, all that. Okay. As of now, some state-run institutions and government offices have shifted. Private people have just not gone there. Okay. And of course, the primary source of employment in that place is still construction and things like that. There's no business there. It's just no business. You've spent $93 billion already. All facility is there, and it is a ghost city. Right? It remains a ghost city. And, this is supposed to be Xi Jinping's, main, dream. And that's what someone said. If you walk through the city, you find a eerie silence. Nothing is happening there. So this is something symptomatic of what, look at this. This is what Bloomberg said last year. Xi's empty dream city. And it shows limits of his power. That's the thing. No one in China is getting into this place. Is it some kind of a democracy? People say it's autocracy and, Xi Jinping can say something and everyone. No, they're not. There's some kind of a democracy. People have a way of, uh, conveying to their leaders what they want. For example, people are not moving into the city. People are not consuming. You might have great dreams in China, but ultimately it's the people who have to come up to the whole thing. You and just think, $93 billion spent over 7 years, on an average about $15 billion every year, which is just lying. No return of income. So GDP has gone up. GDP has gone up by 15 billion every year thanks to the city. So you know that it's dead GDP. If there's $93 billion worth of dead GDP, you find it here. And they're going to go up to $580 billion. So you can imagine what the city is all about. That's why I called it, Z's $93 billion folly. Uh, if this is to be completed, another 5 times more has to be spent in the next 10 years. So you can imagine the GDP will go up. So you're right, but who's going to be there? No one is going to be there. And as days go by, China's status is going to go down. On that, let's not have any doubt. So I just thought I'll put this across, this $93 billion folly. Okay. Now we'll talk of Mungherilals of Pakistan and their Haseen Sapne. All these chaps, they're nothing but. And everyone says Pakistan is in problems and this and that and all that. I am completely with it. But what I find very, very, very interesting is that Pakistan is coming up with a whole lot of new theories about whatever it is. So let me go one by one. And why? Where did I start this? I started it all with this clip which I saw, right? And what is this? Zardari is saying a major step for Gwadar as Pakistan submits Tajikistan Gwadar water project plan to China. I said, yeah, what is this? This is very interesting. Gwadar doesn't have water. That I explained to you in my last, discourse on Gwadar. Now, Pakistan has submitted a plan to get water from Tajikistan. I said, there must be something wrong. So I, went into another, what shall I say, website. I said, yeah, Pakistan is exploring options to bring water from Tajikistan to Balochistan. I said, yeah, let me see again. And they have completed a feasibility report and they've submitted it to China for approval. I said, यार ये तो बिल्कुल मुंगेरी लाल के हसीन सपने हैं. Absolutely, after all, look at where Tajikistan is, okay, and where is Balochistan. Wait, Tajikistan is north of Pakistan. You have to completely cross Afghanistan and come down to the southernmost tip of Gwadar. Who will bear the cost? How much water will come and which river are they going to tap? They're going to get it through Afghanistan. I said, ये तो मुंगेरीलाल के हसीन सपने हैं. Actually, I started this from there. So the Mungherilal number 1 today is their, president. There are so many of them, Mungherilals in Pakistan. So the first is the president. And then what does he say? He wants to make Gwadar to become the hub. Okay? And great commercial center, regional trade, heart of regional trade. So I said, yeah, we did this whole story just about 10 days back on Gwadar, right? And today only again I've released it. There's no industry there, no nothing. How does it become a great regional hub? And Zardari goes to China and both of them shake hands and say Gwadar is going to become the next Dubai of this area. There's nothing there. It's already 12 years Zero. But then there is something. What is there? Ye dekho. So they have a donkey slaughterhouse. That has begun production in Gwadar. And those donkeys, meat, bones, whatever, for whatever it is worth, they're being exported to China. Because there's a market. So Gwadar is the regional hub of donkeys. So that's how it is. Okay. Next. So yeah, apna Shabaz Sharif. What does Shabaz Sharif say? He says government's 1 year. Government has finished just 1 year. Shows Pakistan's journey from darkness to light. So this Mungherilals number 2. Mungherilals number 2 says after 1 year of in being prime minister, Pakistan has moved from darkness to light. And then his next thing, he's given out a strategy to boost Pakistan's export to 60 billion in 5 years. That is 60 billion per year in 5 years. The present is about 30 to 35 billion. So in 5 years, they're going to boost. Very interestingly in this, last year, year before last or so, it had gone up to actually $39 billion. I don't know how it went up. And then it fell down. Oh, right. Now from $30 billion, they want to go up to $60 billion annually. ये भी तो मुंगेरीलाल के हसीन सपने हैं. And they're very seriously discussing this and touting it as their annual achievements. Okay, so well, that's how it is. And ये तो बढ़िया है. Bilawal says Pakistan can help ease US-China tensions through diplomacy. So Pakistan is going to again come up between US and China, and Bilawal Bhutto this time will be, he's Pakistan's Kissinger. So they're making this pitch to Trump. The same Trump who's not even spoken of Pakistan. Modi ji went to Pakistan, the USA. Everything happened. So what the joint statement which has come out from there? Pakistan should rein in terrorism and should not let its land be used for terrorist activities. No, and otherwise, ever since Trump has become the president, no one has spoken of Pakistan. Just no one has spoken of Pakistan. And Bilawal Bhutto wants to become the, in between. So, well, interestingly, more than my comment, look at this Zahur's cartoon. So this is what it is. This is how Pakistan was going to bridge the gap between USA and China. So that's where it is. Okay. And then, of course, this is a classic, all-time classic. You must read this. And I'll read it out for you. Their Deputy Prime Minister, Dar, right, Ishaq Dar, he went to Washington, right? And there or wherever this report comes out. What does this report say? Pakistan is not under any pressure from Washington, and the country would not accept any pressure, even if it was applied, Deputy Prime Minister Ishaq Dar said on Thursday. And this was as he was wrapping up his visit. Okay. So one would expect if he's wrapping up his visit and all, he has met people there and all that. But here this is. He says, speaking to reporters before returning to Pakistan, he had no official contact with officials from Trump administration during his visit there. And this is the funny part. He says, I'll not accept any pressure from Washington. I will not come under any pressure. And he gives the statement when he's in USA. He comes back and then he briefs reporters, and then he at the end of this trip to USA, and then it comes to light he's not had any contact itself with anyone in the Trump administration. So ye hai Mungherilals. If this is not Mungherilals, what is? Just think, right? So okay, and they're waiting for Trump's call. Huh? This is editorial. This is editorial in Dawn which says entire Pakistan Top to bottom, they're waiting. यार ये कब phone करेगा पाकिस्तान को? And Trump has no time. We all know that. Okay, so he is waiting for Trump's call. Nothing's going to happen. We also know that. And then, of course, the Pakistan Army chief, ये एक और Mungherilals है. He has gone to Sanders to give lecture to all the Brits. And as per JD Vance, he says, yeah, the fourth, I mean, after Iran and Pakistan and all, Britain is going to become the next Islamic state with nuclear weapons and all that. I mean, that was horrible. So he's gone there. This Mungherilals has gone there to excite the Islamists out there. And there is this thing that Pakistan, there are a lot of plans coming up in Pakistan of making canals and water and this and that and all that. I found this article, in Dawn. Very interesting, very interesting. Where Pakistan, वही Mungherilals के हसीन सपने. Where Pakistan is building canals, it's making all arrangements for agriculture, modernization, all that, they don't have water. Already there's drought in Pakistan. And the Pak Met Department has already issued a drought notification. Right? And there are droughts in the part of the country. Why? Between September to February or January, the rains in Pakistan have been less. Okay? And you see, this is as per this. In Punjab, it was minus 52%. In Sindh, it was minus 52%. And in Punjab, it was minus 42%. Winter rains are important for Pakistan. If winter rains happen in Pakistan, there is snow at the top, and in summer that will melt and get water into Indus. This year that has not happened. Pakistan is digging canals, this, that, and all that. Okay, this will affect the current cropping. If the land is not wet enough because of no rain, their kharif crop is gone. And then they'll have water shortage in summer because there will not be enough water coming through Indus. Okay? And there's a report, the World Bank report, in which says Pakistan's water economy, it is running dry. I have always maintained, this is my conviction, and I've done a couple of programs on Pakistan, is that the real problem of Pakistan is twofold. In fact, to an extent, 2.5-fold, let's put it there. The first is their population. With no population control, the land cannot feed Pakistan. The second is water. Water is the biggest werewolf for Pakistan. It will eat up Pakistan. That's why I said, don't do anything with Pakistan. Just wait. Just wait. Just wait. Already Pakistan is on the verge of entering absolute water scarcity. Once that absolute water scarcity sets in, the situation is irretrievable for Pakistan. And climate change is hitting Pakistan very badly. And when that hits, it's already hitting, right? These are indications, what I've shown you. That happens, there'll be no water in Pakistan. If there's no water in Pakistan and people are going up and urbanization is taking place, what will happen? And you'll have a restive population. Increasingly, you will find this problem in Pakistan. My guess is another 5 years, Pakistan will be in a terrible mess. Already, people in Balochistan are up in arms, and Pashtunistan, or rather the KP area, are up in arms, and badly. In fact, for the first time on 25th, we are going to discuss about Balochistan in a webinar. Join us. Join Ganashot. 25th evening, 8 o'clock. Balochistan is what we're going to discuss. Will it succeed? What's the future of Balochistan? Whatever. So, this is real. But पाकिस्तान के मुंगेरी लाल है, हसीन सपने हैं उनके. So that's happening. And of course, this is the report, World Bank report, which I thought I'll show you. And then, of course, what's happening in Kurram? Again, people are thinking that things will go off. The sectarian strife will not run away. And see this cartoon by one of their cartoonists, Zahur. There's a volcano going off in Kurram, and these chaps have a small pipe. Mungherilals of Pakistan. I hope you people have liked this thinking. If you like this video, do press the like button. Share it with your friends. Also, if you like Gunner Shot, do subscribe to it. Okay. And then the last Mungherilal. इसके बिना तो पाकिस्तान चलेगा ही नहीं. He is there in jail protesting, hoping like hell that something will happen. Okay, he'll come out and he'll rule Pakistan and take it to the pinnacle of wherever. Bro, this is where it is. You see, every guy in Pakistan today, their leaders, is part of that Mungherilal thinking. कि कोई आएगा, कुछ होगा, हसीन सपने होंगे, and the country is going to dogs. From an Indian point of view, we have to do nothing. People say, go do this, attack Balochistan, support Balochistan, support JNK movement. We have to do nothing. Zero. Okay. Right. What's the next one you're going to talk of? Yeah, so this is all about Pakistan and Mungherilals and their Haseen Sapne. Now, the marriages in China are declining. Why? They're not made in heaven. Right? The Chinese heaven is not good enough to sustain marriages. And so far, I have been honestly reading very serious articles on demography of China and all that from Western sources, which don't give you a realistic view of what's happening there. We don't know. We don't get the pulse of it. And when I was reading Guancha, I came across this article. And I thought I must share it with you and then club it with my own analysis. Right, here we go. For the first time this year, in fact, this year, the marriages have just dipped. You see the end where it has gone? It's the lowest in the past 40, 50 years, number of marriages in China. This is okay. And this is where, just 6 point, let's see the figures so that you have a look at it closely. Okay. Just 6 million marriages in 24. In 10 years, the number of marriages in China have halved. Near new low in 40 years, I told you that earlier. Year on year, from last year to this year, it's gone down by 20%. Last year, it was something in the region of 88 million. This year, it's down to 6 million. Why? People say house rentals are high, prices are high, pressures of life are high, and there's no money. And what's more interesting, 30 to 35% of these people get divorced. These are facts. These are facts which I have just picked from their statistics. Just think of a nation, 6 million get married. Out of 6 million, 20 million, one third, get divorced. Or 2 million get divorced. They'll not have kids. So where is this nation going? You can have Roberts and all that. Where is this nation going? Yeah, it is in this context I came across this article. Of course, the original article is in Chinese. I must explain it to you. He says, it's more troublesome to lower the marriage rate. I mean, that's a translation of Chinese, whatever that phrase is, but I just, in this translation, this is what it gave me. And I took it at face value. I couldn't understand what the heading meant. But the interesting thing is this. This is going to be might be a little academic, but I have to read through this and explain to you what the Chinese thinking is. This is looking deep into their thinking. He says, this is philosophical. This is I just translated it, picked sentences of that article, and I'm showing you. The essence of marriage is that two people need to continue to pay for the next generation. Just think, he's talking of payment for the next generation. Constant trouble is the norm, and happiness, warmth are episodes. That means happiness is episodical, problems are there, and you're looking at when two people get married, it's the society is looking at payment, not responsibility and all that. And he says this is a three-piece set of middle-aged bankruptcy. This is a thinking which I have not heard anywhere. I have not heard in India. It zapped me. He says what happens when you get married? A lot of car loans, housing loans, and large children's expenses. This is the analysis. This is the analysis in one of their major news media, vernacular news channels. Okay, and this gives you the mentality of people there. Okay, that's the more important thing. Middle-aged people are the most miserable as per this author. Middle-aged people with children and houses are the most miserable has become a science. And that conclusion is that no marriage, infertility, and no children is the best. That is, no marriage, infertility, and no children is the best choice for the ordinary people. That's the way they think. In agricultural, he says, agricultural society or pre-modern society, women would get married, otherwise they can't survive. But in traditional society, men are attached to women. Without men, women can't survive. But that's not so. China is now a reformed society. He says with the rise of women's employment, marriage is no longer necessary. More and more women in the workplace have received higher education. They have a very harsh view of marriage. They would be rather alone for a lifetime than make do with marriage. And then, of course, urbanization around the world, without exception, leads to a decline in marriage and the fertility rates. So he is very clearly laid out the socio-economic conditions surrounding marriage. Okay. Further, this is actually it shook me. The older generation view of the marriage is living together, then to meet emotional needs. If you get married, you have to live together. It doesn't matter whether you love each other or not. But younger generation tend to think that purpose of marriage is to make themselves live a better life. They want kuchi life. And it says they can't achieve that happiness, they're not prepared to get married, they're prepared to stay alone. Unmarried rate of women with a monthly income of more than 20,000 yuan is 39%. If you have 20,000 yuan, salary, 40% of Chinese women don't get married, even at the age of 35. Beyond 35, anyway, no one gets married there. The unmarried rate of women in the countryside is 18%. And again, the proportion of double income, no kids among married people is 27%. And the national average is only 4%. That goes, of people who are married without children is only 4%. I know that part, but the other one is interesting. Okay. What else he says? He says many people have a philosophical idea. He's quoted a chap called Yi Wenji, who sees, their philosopher. He says the world is a big prison and bringing children into the world is suffering. This is the thinking they have. In the past, he says people lived in a closed societal circle, and the societal circle put pressure on these people, on the unmarried and the infertile people. But once urbanization has taken place, that societal circle has broken, acquaintances have disintegrated. There's no pressure on people to produce children, and combine it with all that, no children. Simple, no children, no marriages. This is the thinking. And he's given this slide out and this thing, which is all in Chinese. I couldn't make much of it. I mean, the top curve is very simple. That gives you the number of marriages which have gone down, which approximates to the earlier one, which I showed you. But the other yellow one, I couldn't decipher, right? I couldn't decipher, so I thought I must be honest in what I can't decipher. See, look at this. Their economy is going down. That's a cartoon. So is that marriage rate. And if that marriage rate and the economy, you see the correlation between the two. So when I say that economy is going down and people laugh at me, and people, especially those chaps from China who think I'm an idiot. Well, you see this. See the correlation. It is absolutely right. And then let's look at the larger population issues. We all know this graph. We've been seeing it for a long time. But you look at this. This is the current. Its fertility rate has dropped to 1.09. And 1.9 is or 2.1 is actually the ideal replacement rate. This has gone below that. In Shanghai, it is 0.6. All policies, their incentives are all weak. They are not interested. This is something which I got out towards the end of December. All this data correlated to that article, which is just about 1 week back. You see the correlation. Their population will never this thing. At this point of time, even maintaining at 1 for China is not possible. Okay, what's the childbirth and the cost? The cost of having children is too high, and the benefits are too low. Why? It says it takes 20 years for a child to become, a taxpayer. Till then, the child is a burden on the society. And debt-ridden governments can't pay off, can't give incentives for childbirth. And the child is a burden on the parents. Okay. Then, of course, women who take maternity leave face unfair treatment. It's not there anywhere, but it's a practice. They're not given. And then, what's more, if you are in the childbearing age, and if you are likely to if you get married, a woman doesn't get a job. So somehow they convey to that woman, don't get married, because we can't pay you incentives which the state wants us to pay. The state can't pay, so it has forced local business people to say, you will bear the expenses of child bearing and child rearing. And the local, businessmen are not employing such ladies. Either you have a baby beforehand, then you join me. I don't have to then subsist on you. Okay, so this is how it is. And local governments are afraid to publish real data. So whatever is coming out from China is largely fake. You can't. The actual scene might be even worse, even far worse than what is being reported. Then what's the cost? Compare it to others. It is 6.3 times more than China's per capita GDP for cost for rearing a child. In Australia, it is 2.some twice. In France, it's 2.4 or 2.24. In USA, it's 4.11. In Germany, it's 3.6. So the cost of raising a child in China is the highest in the world. So why would they go in for children? If they don't go in for children, their economy is going down at a rate which we can't imagine. And people say, oh, we can make robots and all that. Already there are problems which are coming out which say these guys who have robots are kicking out people and unemployment is increasing. You have to understand there are two Chinas we are dealing with. One is a rich China, which is the state, assertive China, and Xi Jinping's China, which wants to make Xinjiang or Xiongan and things like that, ghost cities. Those dreams are different. They are spending millions and billions on infrastructure, which doesn't give them any returns. Great dreams. There is a real China which is struggling, which is not coming to terms with its own society. It's happening. And I've been talking of this. Every year I talk of this, the situation is just getting worse. Okay. This again from that earlier thing. You must read it. That earlier analysis from Guancha. He says, this is about pensions. Okay. This is about pensions. 7% have an average monthly income pension of more than 6,000 yuan. Only 7%. The rest have less than 6,000 yuan. So what is 6,000 yuan? It's about 40,000 a month. That's it. I think it's about 7,000. It's somewhere between 6 and 7 rupees. Right? So 40,000. Average monthly pension of retired employees in the middle level is about 2,000 yuan. That's 38% get only 2,000 yuan who are retired employees. That's 14,000 rupees. Remaining 55% of urban and rural residents are mainly 171 million in rural areas. Their average monthly pension of the elderly is 223 yuan. That's it. Just think. What is 223 yuan? 1,500 rupees, 1,600 rupees. There's no pension. If there's no pension, how will you spend? There's no consumption. With this kind of a thing and the old age people going up, you think China will consume? You think their economy will ever this thing? It will never happen. Then the next question is very important, which he put. He says, why is the saving rate of Chinese people so high? Okay. He says half of China's non-agricultural employment are migrant workers. Vast majority of migrant workers' pension is only 200 yuan. How can they save? Migrant workers with 200 yuan pension, how can they save? Or rather, how you cannot save? He says, whatever money they have today, they'll save. Firstly, if there's an old chap, he can't save. But today, if you're a migrant worker, right? If today you're a migrant worker, okay, and whatever you're getting, you know tomorrow your pension is only going to be 200 yuan. So you will save. Why will you consume? When you know that the cost of medical equipment, your old age medical expenses, you don't have a house as a migrant worker, you have to go wherever you have to go. So you'll save, you'll not spend. This is the truth. There's no employment, which he says, there are no children being born, there are no pensions are not there. You see the demographic effect which is happening. And this fellow called Yap, he's yapping. Okay. Right. And last year, towards the end of last year, Xi Jinping came and admitted in public that there's a problem of demography. And this is what he says. Okay, he says, let me again, so that you see it. He says of course he's defended the old policies. Past birth control policies were correct and effective. They were correct, we don't know, but effective they were. They have completely finished off the demography of China. Right? What does he want to do? He says it eased pressure on resources and environment as well as post economic development. That's what happened earlier. But hereafter, he's admitted, he says now the labor force is reduced. There's a weaker consumer and investment momentum. This is Xi Jinping talking. This Yap fellow, he can keep talking what he wants. He says we have to work to maximize benefits while avoiding harm. This is a good politician. And he also admits that pace of population transition is fast. The next important thing, population decline has come earlier than expected. This is important. This population decline was to come in the period between 30 and 35. Even then, they felt no, there are, birth rates will be about 1.7 and slowly will transit. They lied to themselves. Even Xi Jinping is lying. The whole country has lied. It's come 10 years ahead with the population, we've seen the fertility rates. And he says it follows the path of modernization, development, and all that. But no, whatever they've done earlier, they're reaping the benefits of this. Right? Okay. Right. It's come 5 years earlier than what was predicted by the United Nations. This is the official thing, official what the United Nations. But I think it's come much earlier. And what's interesting is this population fall was predicted 10 years ago. Not now, 10 years ago, 2014. If you go back in 2011 12, there's a report called China 2030. It was done by the State Council of China and World Bank. And both of them signed on it. One of the things which they've said in that World Bank report is that population decline will happen. And what's worse for China, they don't have any historical experience to deal with a population that is aging fastest in the human history. There's no background. You see, most of us, when you go through economic slump or financial difficulty and all, you have past models. People talk of Japanification of China. There's a model of Japan. There's a model of housing slump or housing bubble. There's a model in USA. There's a model in Spain. There's a model in Brazil. But what's happening in China, as far as demography is concerned, there is no model. They don't know what to do with it. Other countries will now know how to handle this. Because the rate of decline is so fast. That's the point. So there will be social issues of inadequate pension, insufficient health care. Okay. Nurseries have started turning into old age homes, into nursing homes. There's no insurance benefit. There are protests in China because of this. There are no people. There are no working age population. It's all going down. Right? So it's a bad scene. It's a bad scene for China. I have no doubt about it. The guys who are trying to troll us can say what he wants. Sorry. The guys who want to troll us can say what they want and whatever it is. But the fact is, declining marriages in China are not made in heaven. Declining marriages in China are taking China to hell. Now, with this, I'll take on questions and we'll go ahead with the open hour. I do hope you like this three issues which I've put across to you. If you like them, please do circulate to everyone. If you are watching Gunner Shot for the first time, subscribe. And if you're a Chinese, understand what's happening in your country. If you're a communist, you can keep trolling like the communist idiots you are. Okay, now let me take some questions. It doesn't matter what, whether it's related to this or that, I'll answer all that. Okay, right. I find no reason to complain about what China Xi is doing to China. Right. He teaches his people a lesson the world would have found difficult to teach them. Your view. I think so. I completely agree with you. You know, one of the best things for us, the way I look at it, is to let them be what they are. Like I always said, you have to keep China away from you for the next 5-10 years. After that, China will go down on its own path and they can't stop us. Okay. If China is the Middle Kingdom and China is live here, then by default, Xi is their emperor. Yeah, I agree. Yeah. No, I think the objective Xiongan is never to be the Shenzhen Mingbu. Please read their articles. It is said so. Their analysis says so. So don't come up with some theory of your own. Okay. So, now, this Mingbu is now defending Xiongan. I have no problem. You defend it. It's your country. You are supposed to defend it. But unfortunately, you are on a weak footing here. China seems to have entered into a secret deal with Baluch, who apparently agreed not to attack Chinese in Balochistan. So CPC is now China Pak Balochistan project. I don't think you're right. I don't think you're right at all. I must tell you this. They're worried. The Chinese are worried about Balochistan. Okay, how feasible is Trump's plan to convert Gaza into an American Rivera out of 100? What is the probability you personally give it? Give a detailed reply. Thanks. The possibility is less than 10%. That's it. So that's as detailed. It's not going to happen. You're not going to move 23 lakh people away, sitting in USA to some other place. Where will they go? No one is prepared to take them. So let's not waste time on it. From the perspective of modern Western economics, Xi has it spot on. The more he spends, the more GDP growth. Isn't he also spending in Gwadar to keep the? Yeah, I agree with you. Okay. Yeah. The airport made by CCP Sir is feeling the heat of locals in Karachi, as launched on 20th Jan, and still no scheduled flights alongside. Yeah, scammed on 22,000 jobs. All this is there. Wherever China has gone, nothing has prospered there. China, within its own country, has not done well by its people. You look at Hambantota, you look at this, and you look at any other. You look at Gwadar, you look at many other ports, zero. Did Pak Army Chief went to UK to make some agreement to send their boys to Ukraine peacekeeping force? I don't know. Let's see what happens. Honestly, this is a very good question you asked, but he's gone and you must remember, UK likes Pakistan and their army and everything. So they've got some strange relationship. That's the way it is. Is Pakistan breeding large data center for old deep state, as it would lead to greenhouse gas emissions and eventually no rain, hence water crisis? I don't know. There's no data worthwhile from Pakistan. Yeah, you'll get a lot of data from Pakistan after they got 250 million people and then no rain and things like that. But will that be useful for them or for China? I don't know. I don't think so. And all this is, we are giving, 2 far too much importance to AI in our lives. We're missing the wood for the trees. That's my feeling. Okay, I talk of AI, I understand AI, but I don't know whether all this will use, because Mother Nature has its own way of doing things. Sir Z is said to be seriously ill. Any news on that? No, if you see the latest videos and all, he's going about normally. So he might be having latent illnesses, but it's not obvious, on in media appearances. But the fact is that he's lost some power. In fact, tomorrow we'll do this his pivot to private sector. That's a major thing which is done, which has gone under the radar because of Trump and all that, which we'll talk of tomorrow. Tomorrow is going to be a long session. We'll have to talk a lot of logic in that. Okay. What if the US recognizes Balochistan as a sovereign territory, given its strategic position vis-a-vis Iran, Afghanistan, and the Middle East? Well, new dynamics. First and foremost, Pakistan would have changed. So you're looking at a breakup of Pakistan. If that happens, there might be a domino effect in Pakistan itself. Let's talk of Pakistan first. And Sindh might say, let me break up. KP will say break up. Then Pakistan will balkanize. Let's be very clear about it. Okay. Then there will be a power game to grab Balochistan. That will destabilize Iran. It will destabilize Afghanistan. It will also destabilize Dubai and that area to a large extent. Then there will be a problem for China. What will China do? China and its CPEC and this and that. So I don't think it's going to be easy. It's going to change the complete security and the economic architecture of this area. Will it happen on its own? Possible. Will it secede? Possible. 25th, join in. We're going to have, for the first time, a discussion on Balochistan proper. We'll discuss this. Yeah. Pakistan opened two front to India, one in JNK, one in Bangladesh. How much India, Pakistan are? No, Saikat Ghoshal, no war. Don't worry. We'll handle both. Whether regime change much will happen in Iran, answer is no, it will not happen. I don't think USA and Trump are in any mood to do regime change. After this meltdown of USA, it will not happen. And USA entering and all that, not under Trump, under Biden's administration or something like that, possible, not now. You have to think differently. The world is changing, we should also change thinking. Why Indian Army is so reluctant to buy indigenous artillery system? You keep asking this question. That's a dumb question, let me tell you this, because we bought only Indian artillery systems. There's no foreign artillery system. What we're going to buy ahead is also indigenous. Okay, so that's a dumb question you're asking. I know you are talking of Kalyani guns. Okay, so Baba Kalyani's Bharat Forge guns. Now those guns were made by him. Okay, we didn't ask him to make it. Those guns are not as, we don't even know if those guns meet our GSQRs. There's no program. And as per the evolution of this thing, we didn't want that gun. We wanted a different gun altogether, which we're going in for. There's a RFP out, there's a process on. Till then, we are not in a hurry. Then you'll ask, what about attacks? Where are the orders? Attacks orders are there for 300 guns, if you don't know. Okay. If you don't know, Armenia wants, because they're in a hurry. Otherwise, they'll get had. We are not in a hurry. We have adequate guns. We have all. You must remember, we have changed over something like 30 regiments already in terms of getting them 155s, Vajras, Pinakas, Smirch, Brahmos. So it's just not guns. Okay. So if you're not understood and you want to come here and canvas for some stupid fellow and you're not prepared to understand, because there's many times you ask the same question. indicates to me either you are a bot for one of these fellows or you're not prepared to think. Yeah, Pakistan's economics shall result in depopulation of the geography over a period of time. Or Western front may be faced with migration pressure of this distressed population. Yes, yeah, you got a good point actually there, and it's feasible. But whether how it will happen and all that, we'll have to see. This is one of the things which you have to monitor as we go along in time, right? So we'll have to see. Your point is very valid. Okay. Reports of striker import is really disturbing. How will we have Lockheed, Raytheon, and Boeing for our army? If our own army is import champions, did these American uh, companies made perfect product from them? Again, what? Why we are importing striker? Have we imported or have we signed a deal? Not yet. It's all in the air. Are we ordering WAPs? We are. So you seem to be having a fixed mind. Okay. So don't have this fixed thinking. You're supposed to be free thinker. You should change your name to fixed thinking. Yeah. If we consider the increase in property prices in India's metro, it is noticed that a modest two-bedroom flat is between 1 to 3 crore, Chennai, Bangalore, or Hyderabad. Our next generation has to slog to pay mortgages, add to this cost of living and all that. How can we progress if the next generation follows the policy of byline in India? Most of our government seems to be myopic. I don't think we are in that kind of a problem. Don't worry. We are much better off. Things are evolving much better manner. I can assure you. A 3 bedroom flat, but 10 years back costed 55,000, 55 lakh, 55 lakhs. Today it's about a crore plus, depending on the area which you want, on an equivalent area. So it's not much. In about 10 years, if you double. A lot of people have the same in India. DINK is applicable in it is, but not at the levels at which is applicable in China. That's the point. Yeah, percentage of median age to total, I guess. Yes, we are the least median age. Our median age is some 24 or 25 or 26. China's median age is touching 40. Please understand that. By the same estimate, India's population is also estimated to drop in the next decade. Isn't the current reality it's too high for the look? I agree. Our population will start stagnating at some point of time, and probably it'll towards the end of the century it will start decreasing. I have no doubt about it. But what is happening in China is unnatural. There's no correlation in history. That's the point I'm trying to bring out. And if there's no correlation in history and what is happening is absolutely out of whack, there's something wrong will happen there. And that's our neighbor. We have to handle that. It's a big economy. It's going to have ripples. Please understand that. I'm not going to say that this analysis is not India versus China. This is China versus China. Understand that. Any society when it sharply with a big jerk abandon its roots, culture, living habits, civilization values, it cannot sustain itself. Collapse is inevitable. Culture, yeah, I agree with you. I think you're right. Yeah, Muslims will become majority. Look at their birth rate. No, don't go by too much of it. There's something else happening. Yeah, there's out of mind. Yep. Dolera, Sir, Gujarat, land acquired despite protests, flood exposed, poor planning. I agree all this is going to happen. Now, the point is, these are issues which we have to tackle. We can't go the communist way, we can't go the Chinese way. You have to go the democratic way. But there has to be a cutoff between what is happening in China and what is not happening in India, somewhere the middle path. Are we in the middle path? If we are in the middle path, it's okay. Protests will happen if land is acquired forcibly for industrialization or anything else. They're going to be we're going to have problems. There's no doubt. If you think you could be where you are and be happy with what you do. So you have to have a balance. I think we are still okay. Yeah. Thanks a lot, Pankaj, for your kind words. I would request all of you to at least like this video if you liked it. Okay, let me go ahead and see, get a new person if he's got any question. Yeah, Yap is yapping hell of a lot. I have no problem in his yapping. Yeah. Right. I think we've done. Okay. We have our own problem, but general is concerned about China's problem. Yes, this is an analysis of China. Amitesh, you know me. I know my own problems. Incidentally, I know problems which India faces, and in many issues I am part of the solution. Let me assure you. Okay, I don't discuss it because that I leave to the government of India to discuss. This is about China. This is knowing about China. We should understand our people don't know enough about China, and I have to expose our people to China. And let's understand, he is not, this China man is only a 4 foot tall buffoon with pigtails. He is not 10 foot tall. A lot of what's coming out of China is complete propaganda. Let's understand that and talk accordingly. That's why. Okay. So I finished. This yap fellow is yapping, yapping, and yapping. So I'm happy with his yapping. Right? All these Chinese who come, they just make fun. That's okay. That's good. Please understand, if they make fun of us, it's good. It means that they're getting, oh no, someone told me, mirchi lage to main kya karu? China ko mirchi lage to main kya karu? Let's go ahead. Okay? Right. With this, thanks a lot. Join in tomorrow evening. I'm going to talk about what's happening in China. Two things I'm going to talk of. Why Xi Jinping has pivoted to the private sector, and what is Japanification of China. It's becoming serious. And this has all gone under the radar thanks to Trump and his antics. Till tomorrow, thank you, good evening, and Jai Hind.